I'm Shauna, and I don't know if I ever really said that before. I thought about it the other day. I think I was watching somebody else's video, and they started out with their name. And I don't know that I ever started out with my name. I'm Shauna. My husband is Bob, and we are a year 2 flower farm. We sell market bouquets, retail market bouquets from our flower shed. Last week, if you watched our videos, we were super excited. We had a sale out. Okay, we have not this weekend. Just goes that way. We've sold 12. That seems to be the standard for us, 12. But it is Saturday about 7 o'clock, and we're about to shut this down, so I thought I'd just give you an update on that. Let me turn you around. I'm going to show you some of the bouquets, because last week I was talking about the flowers that I use, and this is standard bouquet for my favorite flowers, which are the sunflowers, the zinnias, the basil, gomphrena. I don't have any gomphrena in this, and I don't have any lisianthus. I did actually get some marigolds blooming. That was awesome because we did have a hurricane, really more of a tropical storm, blow through here. So this is typical what I like to put in with the sunflowers. I've got 2 sunflowers, some zinnias, basil, and then this one obviously has some ageratum in it. And then over here, check this out. We now have a picnic table at the stand in case anybody wants to just have a little seat and watch the donkey and the horse for just a few minutes while they're getting their bouquet from the picnic table. You can also see the flower field. Here is the flower shed right here, Gully's flower shed, and then here is the upper garden. I think the sun is going to be in our way, but there's the lower garden. Going to take you on a tour of the August flower garden. It has been a crazy July, super high temperatures, and then we did go through a couple weeks of a lot of rain, and then it got really hot and humid again. We are in zone 8A, North Carolina, and July and August are always typically super hot, super humid, just can't get around it. And sometimes they're super dry, but we've been really lucky actually to get this amount of rain, so I can't complain about that. But then we did just have Tropical Storm Debbie roll through here. It was a hurricane, but by the time it got to us, it was really just tropical storm, wind and rain. Luckily, all of our netting, which you can see here, held up and did its job, and so we're good there. Just going to show you that, and as we go through, I'm also going to talk about some things that we're getting ready to do for the fall garden. This is our row of lisianthus. We started this, we did not start this. We bought the plugs and we planted these back in February. About mid-June, we got our first, it started with the first flush. This right here was the first flower to bloom. And when we plant it that early, typically we can get a second flush. So that's what we're waiting on here. We're starting to get this flush right here. And then we should get the white, and then we should get the Roseanne brown, which I'm really excited about. So that is part of our fall garden. And that's what I count on for my fall flowers. I really count on those for fall flowers. And then if we go over here, right here, behind me, all the way at the end, we just cut all those sunflowers. All right, I turned you around. So here, I started some amaranth. This is Hot Biscuits amaranth. This is going to be a filler for the fall. And I've pinched this because I don't want it to get too big. When it gets too big, it's not a great filler. And then I've got Cosmos. Cosmos really do well in the fall. So I've started some more cosmos. The flowers are a great flower, but also you can use cosmos for foliage as well. So I'm always looking for some fall foliage. I have eucalyptus, which I'll show you, but these should be going strong here and not too long. I've pinched some and I haven't pinched others. So I've got that going on. And then the whole rest of this row is just sunflowers that I just cut. This next row is the yarrow, which is a perennial. We let this perennialize and we've cut this back. I was hoping to get a second flush. I don't know that I will. And then I've never done this before. Usually I just rip out my feverfew. I let my feverfew stay in, hoping to get a second flush. As you can see, let me stand back here. I am getting a second flush, but look how short. I don't think this experiment is working too well, meaning I don't think this is going to be usable. So I think from now on, I am going to have to just resign myself to the fact that feverfew for me is a one and done. I am considering leaving this and seeing how it overwinters, but I am definitely starting more because I love feverfew, and typically, well, if you've seen my other videos, it's really tall for me. So this did not work. And I stuck in a few cosmos over here that didn't fit in this row because of the sunflowers. And then here's some purple basil. Some of it is getting eaten right there. And then these are my last succession of zinnias right here. This is still my scabiosa. This was started and planted out last September. And again, it is just petering out, but I am considering seeing if this will overwinter as well and seeing if it will perennialize. Haven't decided that yet either, so it hasn't been pulled. These are the marigolds I just started not too long ago. Look at them. These are the first, as you saw in those bouquets earlier, I just am starting to get blooms off of them, and I really love them. These are the cocoa orange, and look how big they are. They are so nice for bouquets. If you haven't ever tried these, I highly suggest it. And I'm sure you know, but if you don't, it's the foliage on marigolds that smells. So if you don't like the smell of a marigold, then just take off all the foliage. Look at this bee sleeping. Can you see it? This is also part of my last succession of zinnias. These are all the Queen Lime series. I've got orange, the red. I was obviously thinking of fall when I was starting all of these. And then I have some Benary's wine and different things. So this is the last succession of zinnias for fall. And at the end of that row is more of the purple basil. Again, another foliage for fall. I like to start the purple basil. I also like to start cinnamon basil, which I still have some going down there in the lower garden, but I didn't have any cinnamon basil seeds, so I just had to go with the purple basil. And then over here, oh my goodness, this row right here is killing me. All right, so these are sunflowers, and I keep planting and replanting. Obviously, you see some that have come up, and then obviously you see a lot that haven't. They actually have. It's just that the slugs or something is eating them. It's either slugs or some cutworms or something. And I keep trying to keep up with it with the Sluggo, but between the rain and the storms and whatnot, the Sluggo gets washed away or eaten or something, And then you come out here and I find little stalks. And as you know, a sunflower is one and done. And so then there goes the sunflower. So then what I've done is then I come back and I reseed. So who knows what all of this is going to turn out to be. But this is a row of sunflowers, and who knows how many will come up and when and how and what, because they've been seeded and reseeded and whatnot. This is a row of sunflowers. It was Vincent's Gold up until here. And then this was all a week later, the plum. It's very upsetting. And then I did just plant out another succession of celosia right here for the fall. So, got lots of stuff started for fall. So when we flip a bed, we don't till it. What we do is we just cut all the stems down at ground level, and then we'll put some compost down, and then we replant. But even at that, obviously all the plants are taking a lot of minerals and nutrients from the soil and whatnot, so you need to put more back in. And since we did the gypsum in the spring, we're going to do the gypsum in the fall and put that down. And then especially where we're putting those snapdragons, I think the snapdragons really benefited from the gypsum. We learned this from the Jenny Love podcast. We were having trouble. We had snapdragons in this row and another row over here, and the snapdragons are really, the stems were looking really wonky. We had some hollow stems, and we're trying to figure out what to do about that. In the podcast, we heard that gypsum really helps because it puts calcium into the soil, and it's the calcium that the plants need that helps with the hollow stems, and it also helps to make the stems stronger. What we did was we got the 50-pound bag of gypsum. We put 10 pounds per row up here and in our other garden, and then we just top dressed it. It's a powdered gypsum, and we top dressed the rows. We did this before we knew a rain was coming, because we did have irrigation down, but we weren't irrigating the rows because we were getting plenty of rain at the time. And then we just let the rain push the gypsum into the soil. Now, the gypsum will sit in the soil until it is able to be uptaken by the plants. And again, it doesn't burn your plants. So even though you feel like you're putting a ton on there, it'll just sit there, not burn your plants until your plants are able to use them. We are now in the lower garden. These are dahlias. We are on the struggle bus with the dahlias. But what I did was I cut all these back to about 12 inches. And we'll see how these do. Dahlias struggle really in our heat. I used to have a lot of dahlias, but I don't anymore. And I struggle with how to support them. Also, dahlias don't hold up, don't have as long of a vase life. And I'm not sure that my customers understand the difference between a dahlia and another flower. And so I worry that they'll be upset that they don't last as long. So anyways, here's my dahlia patch. It's very small, and we'll just see how these do. This row just has some basil in it right here. This is lemon basil. and one little dahlia at the end. This was a sunflower patch, and I will be planting more sunflowers here. I'm going to plant out sunflowers probably till the end of September. I'm going to plant out sunflowers as long as I can plant out sunflowers. Even if my last succession gets hit by frost or something, that'll be fine. I'm going to try and have them as long as I possibly can. Here are my heirloom mums. So here's a row of heirloom mums. They're doing really well so far. Growing. And then here is my patch of eucalyptus. Super excited about this because I'm getting ready to be able to cut off of this. I try to wait until about this time when there's not as much new growth at the end, because it's the new growth that, if you have a lot of new growth at the end, when you cut it, then all of that will be wilty. All right, so here are my zinnias. This patch of zinnias was one of the first patches that I planted. It's starting to look a little puny, so it might be time to cut this one. And then this beyond here is another succession, which was a later succession. So that one's still looking pretty good. And actually, this was one of the first successions as well, but this one is still looking really nice. So I'm still cutting off of this one. And then here is my Gomphrena that I cut down to the ground, but it is almost prime and ready for me to start cutting on again. So I'm super excited about my little patch of Gomphrena right here. And then here is my patch of lemon basil that I started way at the beginning of the season. I've been cutting hard off of this. I'm still cutting off of this. Still cutting hard off of this cinnamon basil. That's looking good. Apples of Peru is a trap crop. I have used it some, but really right now I'm just using it as a trap crop. And then here is another up close personal of my heirloom mum row. And then look at my row. Cut this all the way down too. This is my ageratum. So I am cutting off of this. This can also be used really as a foliage as well. But I'm cutting off of that. Still planted that at the beginning of the season. There's another patch of Gomphrena. It's not quite as big as that one, but it's coming back really nicely as well. All right, well, the sun's going down, so I better hurry this one up. It's August, it's hot. I know, I am sweltering in the heat as well, although I always say that I'd rather be hot than cold. But think ahead. I am planning ahead to the fall garden, and then I'm planning ahead for the cool flowers. So check out your seeds. Make sure you have enough seeds for your cool flowers, and you've got your hoops and your row covers. Look into the gypsum. Check out Jenny Love's podcast about gypsum. I really do think it made a big difference in our snapdragons. Helping with the hollow stems, the curvy stems, helping with the strong straight stems. Yep, look at all those. Geese coming our way. And then, let's see, gypsum, seeds. We've obviously already started with the heirloom mums. I've planted out a lot of things that hopefully will be going strong for the fall, so we can make fall bouquets. Started into that, and hopefully what I've got planted as far as zinnias and that kind of thing will take us in to the fall, and we can head into that. So I hope you all have enjoyed the August garden. It's sweltering and it's 8 o'clock, but I had to wait until now because when I was trying to do this video earlier, my phone kept dying because it was way too hot. This is also stood in fire ants. Losing daylight, so I need to be quick on this one. Hope you've enjoyed. I cannot because I'm getting eaten by the freaking